I have to be completely honest and say that the idea of taking a virtual power washer and essentially carrying out a job without earning any real world money wasn't on my bucket list of things to enjoy in 2025, but here we are with Powerwash Simulator 2. After I'd missed the first game and heard all the hype, I was very keen to try that one for a little bit, which I did, and then jump into this one for a full review. It includes a number of improvements. This is obviously a full Nintendo Switch release as well, so surely we'll have all of the goodness that Nintendo have added to the Switch 2, or not. Is it a pristine release, or does it need to clean up its act? Well, my name's Mark Walker, welcome back to SwitchUp, now let's find out. Perhaps the most surprising thing about Powerwash Simulator 2 is that it does in fact have a storyline. It's set 3 years after the original game, and although you're not going to see lots of cutscenes and voice dialogue, you will get small messages come up on screen during your missions. It's not going to set the world on fire, but you do discover some mysteries surrounding the town of Muckingham and the county itself. Gameplay wise, well, it's very familiar if you played the first, with a number of notable tweaks, but for those who didn't, you really do go into stages filled with filthy items and then scrub them until they're clean. To do that, you use a variety of power washers. Now, anyone that's been on YouTube for 5 minutes will have watched someone clean a driveway with what we call a pressure washer here in the UK, and there is something strangely cathartic about it. The same can be said for actually playing it yourself. In this game, you have a base of operations. It's your hub area, and from there you can add items to it. Those will be earned and then cleaned before you can use them, of course, why wouldn't they be? And then choose one of the campaign missions. Straight away, I want to say shout out to the developers for actually adding in proper split screen co-op on the Nintendo Switch 2 edition. You can also play through all of the campaign missions like that, and my son and I had a nice bonding time playing. That is, until it was time for him to do his real life chores, and then he got annoyed. The irony is real. The campaign, much like the first game, sees you taking on a number of contracts. You'll take your little cleaning van, which can be fully customized, and any tools that you've got or purchased or indeed upgraded in a number of different areas into the fray. The fray is a filthy mess. Everything is so ridiculously covered in dirt. First things first, how does it actually control? Well, it's annoying me, I have to say. Much like the first release on Switch, the sequel does not use gyroscopic controls, and it also doesn't feature mouse mode. This is such a strange omission. It would have controlled so much better by having those things. But with that out the way, they do provide some things for controller to make it more sensible. For example, you can lock the camera in place just using the right stick to control the nozzle, thus mitigating any motion sickness you might feel, but also making it just feel a little more sensible as you strafe left and right using the left stick. You can also rotate the nozzles and make them larger or smaller by using the D-pad, and oh wonderful joy, the soap suds have been improved in this release. Soap's no longer strictly limited, so once it's applied to a muddy surface, it actually clings to it until you decide to wash it off, but it will gradually disappear if you put it onto something that's already clean. Nice and sensible. Each area of every single item in the world essentially has a percentage bar until it's cleaned. Once it is, it will make a very nice sound, and it ticks a box on your grand adventure to make everything sparkle. The water and soap physics are actually quite impressive and realistic, and it changes depending on the type of surface and the type of muck that you're clearing. You see it dilute and dissipate, but sometimes if the hose pressure isn't high enough or you've got the wrong nozzle on, it will gradually smear and spread over the ground. I never thought I'd be looking at water graphics going, yeah, that really looks like water, but it does. Then you cover everything in that foam and it instantly washes off. It's strangely compelling. Now, to aid you in your quest to ever clean crud, you've got a number of things to help. Most notably, you'll have a variety of different items that you can clamber onto to help you reach difficult to access areas. Levels can be fully traversed, meaning you can jump on top of the thing you're cleaning, climb over the top, or creep and crawl with modes to allow you to crouch and even go prone. To mix things up a little, they've also added in a few different cleaner types, such as a wide surface cleaner, and it certainly got more interesting the further I got into the game, with more tools becoming available, which also cuts down on the potential monotony of larger surface areas. Levels also have some dynamic movement to them. If you're cleaning a toilet outdoors, we found that you'd clean a section and then it would rise up out of the ground, giving you more areas to clean. And in other locations, doors would open, revealing a disgustingly filthy interior for you to go and scrub. It just means that what you see at the beginning of a stage isn't always what you see by the end, so that it doesn't just rely on the nice relaxing nature of cleaning poo. The traversal devices go a step further as well, with things like the ability to abseil or use pulleys, and of course the giant scissor lifts. Sometimes during a stage something dynamic will happen, a new element might be introduced with an optional reward for cleaning it. But don't let me fool you, this is not an exciting game per se. It's quite the opposite. It's for those people who really do enjoy the strange pleasure that comes from meticulously cleaning things, seeing them sparkle, and then reaping the rewards in cash form to take back to your base, upgrade all of your gear, and then do it all again. And weirdly, that seems to be quite a lot of us. If I had to categorize this type of game, it would be a satisfaction 'em up. Like, there's something satisfying, isn't there, about just seeing things sparkling. But many people, I think, will just find it boring and monotonous and quite a bit like daily chores. The addition of more tools, more items, more ways of traversing really will add a lot to existing fans. I feel like they can go a step further, or maybe a couple, with the story and the way that's delivered. I envisage a game where it's almost, and I don't want to say GTA, but you have an open world and maybe you live in an apartment and then you get calls and you go out and do these jobs and you do them in the order that you want. Maybe there's a time limit based on the typical day-to-day cycles. I don't know. I think there's a lot they could do here, but I do like the way they've done this. It's certainly an improvement over the original, but they really should add specific Switch 2 controls. They just should. For me, gameplay scores 16 out of 20. Controls score 15 out of 20. Now, I can't specifically find what engine the game uses, but I do know the original Powerwash Simulator from 2022 used Unity, so it's likely that this uses the same. Visually, it looks quite nice on Nintendo Switch 2. The resolution seems okay, performance is fine. When you're playing in single player, you're looking at around 60 frames per second. It feels nice and smooth. When you play multiplayer, that frame rate does come down quite a bit, but it's still more than enjoyable. And the water and grime are the stars of the show, visually speaking. I've already alluded to how the water makes the grime smear off the surfaces in a realistic fashion, but it will dry over time as well, changing the opacity of the surface as well as its reflective qualities. It just looks how you would expect it to look if you were doing it in real life, which is, I guess, the biggest compliment you can make to a game that bases itself on cleaning scum. Each location looks nice and unique, although some of them are more effective than others, but obviously a big improvement if you've come from the Switch 1 version of the first game. There are also a few visual things to help you locate that last pesky piece of dirt. You can highlight it as well to make it more clear, as well as the more dynamic multi-stage levels. The sound effects are absolutely fine, the washer sounds as it should, all of that good stuff, but I did think it was a bit strange that they didn't introduce something like a radio or something that you could put on to play some songs of your choosing. It feels completely different when you have a bit of a soundtrack in the background, so I tended to just put my own music on. I think it's a bit strange it's not there, I have to say. Unless it's hidden away and I've completely missed it. But yeah, I did look. The visuals and performance are actually quite strong. They score 17 out of 20. Sound and audio, I think, is a little lacking. It scores 14 out of 20. Powerwash Simulator 2 is the exact same price as the first, being £19.99 or your regional equivalent. For that, you're getting an extension of the gameplay you already know and potentially thoroughly enjoy, but with more verticality, more tools, an improvement to the home base, and of course the split screen gaming that I already mentioned. I do really hope developers watch this video and add in gyro controls and mouse mode. When you've got a new platform, you really hope to see those new features used, but still, it's a good game and it does offer some good value if cleaning filth is your thing. With all the new locations, the new game modes, the new content, value scores 17 out of 20. So there it is, Powerwash Simulator is surprisingly clean. It gets a SwitchUp score of 79%. Is it a game series that you love to scrub? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks to our Patreons and members, all of you that enjoy the content, and as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!